It is 7 o'clock on the East Coast. It is 4 o'clock on the West Coast. It is the 10th of September in the year of our Lord 2023. Tony Reale, that's how you do that. Season 14, episode 6, 641 times you have been welcome to the Clubhouse Podcast, live wherever you're watching us. Your one-stop shop for all things sports, entertainment, and pop culture. Welcome. My name is Rob. I am the executive producer of the Clubhouse Podcast, and all is right in the world. That way from me is my co-host and a man who likes to keep it simple in his background. He is Alex.
Just a nice deep blue. But at that same time, it is a relative national holiday in my opinion. And I know you're wearing the shirt to go with it too. And we'll give the next guy a little partial credit because it is football in most places.
At the bottom of your screen is the official fact checker of Sooner Gator Productions, and it is football. You may know him as Igbunu, but his mama named him Don Ford. I'm going to call him Don Ford. Hey, man.
Away. Wrexham!
Yeah, right.
Were you saying OA?
4 times we did. I was able to sing that song in the crowd that night, which we'll get into. That's a tease.
And one time, there's photo evidence of.
But not the middle of the face.
I know. But Fate's on there. I wanted to film the crowd. I was doing it for the fans.
That's what you want to believe.
The Uber American.
We're not even going to bury the lead because it is time for a major announcement. Oh, we need our breaking news sounder. Next Sunday's show will be on at a very special time. We're going to be on a little bit early next week at 4 o'clock Eastern. We're going to be on next week preempting the Cheap Popcast because for the first time ever, this show will be live from Retro Expo in Allen, Texas, next Sunday afternoon at 4 o'clock Eastern. And it's special for a couple of reasons. Number one, we're going to be at Retro Expo with some great guests. I mean, let me just run the guest list down before we even hit the stage. Saturday, you've got Tracy Lynn Cruz, former Yellow Power Ranger. You've got Michael Biehn and Jeanette Goldstein, a sci-fi extravaganza there. You've got Steve Guttenberg, who I am going to be sitting down with. Then you've also got Larry Wilcox and Eric Estrada as a Chips reunion. Then Sunday morning, we've got Sam Jones and Melody Anderson from Flash Gordon. Then at 1 o'clock, it's going to be a 6-person plus the moderator panel reuniting some of the cast of the 1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
Can we use the term?
I don't know what you mean.
The Shellabration.
Oh, yeah. No, that's what they're calling it. And then after that, I will be sitting down with Doug Momery and Emily Peden from the great show from my childhood called New Zoo Review. Very excited about that. And then at 4 o'clock Eastern, we will be live right here on StreamYard, hoping everything works, and it should, as we're going to be doing 45 minutes of our show with some very special guests. John Hines and Buddy Brown from Fanboys 918. The 918 is the area code from Tulsa. They're coming down to help out with the moderating. And then at 5 o'clock Eastern, we're going to be sitting in and doing 45 minutes of their show. So this is a big deal next week. I am incredibly excited. Thank you to everybody at Retro Expo for letting us do this. This is going to be a lot of fun. I hear the guy that's running programming over there is fantastic and has been very, very gracious to have this idea. But we're very excited. We're stoked. Come out. Dave's going to be out there with the Iron Throne that you can take pictures on. I know that for a fact. The 501st is going to be there. During the day on Saturday, there's going to be a photo op with the Turtles just out there roaming the floor. There will be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles roaming the floor Saturday afternoon for about an hour. So go to retroexpo.com. That's where you want to go for all the information for next week. And the show is Saturday and Sunday. So make sure you join us for that as well. I'm so excited for this show. I'm going to be out there Friday setting up. It's a beautiful facility right there at Stacy Road and Central. It's also right down the street from a Wiener Schnitzel. So
777 Waters Parkway.
Very excited. It's going to be a great show. Come hang out with us. It's a huge vendor hall too, where all the celebrities and the artists and everybody else are. I'm really stoked for the show. Cannot wait.
Likewise.
Take a drink of my beverage. Because again, I'm picking up Don's slack. All right. Let us dive right in. Don was gone for like 3.5 months as he was on a European tour. Now, Don, remember, this is only a 90-minute show, and we got a lot to get to.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your experiences in the UK with your lovely wife for about half of August.
So we went out there to celebrate the Fantastic Faith Ford's 50th birthday. And again, thank you, Rob, for doing that birthday compilation, and Alex for being part of that is really special. They did surprise me for meeting my mother-in-law for the first time. They brought her in and did not tell me. They brought her from Nigeria. And she has 6 siblings, and 5 of the 6 were there. And it surprised me by bringing Christabel up. So now I've met every sibling in person, which was incredible. They did a ceremony since the mom was there, officially putting me in the family, which was incredible. So I feel very honored in that aspect. We spent a lot of the time in Manchester.
England.
And first off, I want to say this right now. We're never going to fly Virgin Atlantic Airlines ever again. They wanted to charge us $800 to check 3 bags in and 2 carry-ons. So yeah, we never fly Virgin. Don't care. So I'll say this: since we were staying with family and stuff like that, well, we didn't stay in a hotel. We weren't by where the rail stations is, but we went around through Manchester a lot using Ubers. And believe it or not, you wanted to go. Let's say I'll give you the equivalent of Dallas. Let's say you wanted to go to Irving to Allen. The Uber probably cost you about £9, which is about $10.
That's not bad at all.
No. You could go, let's say, equivalent of Grand Prairie to Addison, it'd be £8. But the Uber driver gets like 90% of that money.
Oh, really?
But they have to be licensed and all that. They have to go through a whole thing and get approved and have their own Uber thing. And so it's like getting.
So
yeah.
I apologize. I just want to clarify. Is it Uber, or is it like the British equivalent?
Oh, Uber. Because
I just want to clarify that it wasn't an Uber substitute.
No, and it's the Uber app. My wife used her same Uber app the entire time. Except one thing that helped us out is her brother-in-law let us with his bank. They could get multiple accounts. He opened one for us, and we had a debit card, so we're able to put U.S. money into those funds and then use that debit card without being the international exchange and being jabbed on that the entire time, even with the Ubers.
Now, Don, you said it was Faith's brother-in-law, right?
No, my brother-in-law, Faith's brother. My brother.
Okay, I think it was Faith's brother-in-law.
No.
I actually found out there's a term for that, and it's called your co-brother-in-law.
Yeah, sorry, no. Her brother, my brother-in-law.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, so then what happened is, we did a lot. So I went to the Cadbury shop. I literally brought back 50 pounds of Cadbury. Okay, not kidding.
And you wonder why they wanted to charge you $900 to bring it.
We still had it under the 23 kilos on each of the bags. You know what I'm saying? Well, we only checked 3 bags? You're supposed to get the first one free.
How does it not melt in the plane?
Well, because number one, it's in the UK where it's only 70 degrees the whole time. It never got to 108. Number 2 is that when you get in the air at 30,000 feet, it's pretty cold up there. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh.
It's
God bless you, sir.
Yeah. So, but I'll say this: the driving was really weird because they're driving literally on the other side of the road, and the driver's side and driver are on the opposite side. So when you sit in the car, usually in America, the driver's on the left and the passenger's on the right. It's vice versa. And so there's no way I would even think about driving out there. It was crazy, but I didn't see much wrecks, much interstate, but they're very low. The streets are very thin, not very thick. Trying to get 2 Humvees across opposite directions in UK would not work. That's why they're smaller cars. Houses, they build up and they're very compact. A good sized American house would have 2 houses in the UK, and they're also all brick because of the fire. The 1612 made a law that houses have to be brick out there now. But we had a good dinner with the family, that kind of thing. We went to a small town you may have heard of called Wrexham.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it. Yeah.
Is that in England?
Actually, Wales.
Oh,
Technically,
okay.
it's in Wales.
That's not unusual.
We met Amon and Rachel, who got the jersey we got at Christmas. We had dinner with them. It's great. Sat with Amon. They were saying on Wrexham how usually 2 years ago there'd be 2,000 people in the stands. When we were there, it was pretty full. It was 10,100 people because of the show and everything.
Season 2 kicks off Tuesday.
Yeah, and they got up to a higher league, which was great. So, I mean, that's just new. I mean, that's
spoiler alert for the next season.
That's a joke, Don, because that's when they announced season 2. That was the picture of 2 of them holding the trophy, and it said spoiler alert for season 2.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it made the news. They moved up, and so the stands are doing. There's 4 sides, and they're redoing one side at a time each time. The teams, the traveling team always has a section, and that was full, and they got rowdy. And they had a separate entrance for them too, and they always keep those kind of people separate in all the soccer games out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The show does not do the town justice on how awesome the people were and how nice they were. I hit the pub. I had a beer there. We also met people.
You went to the pub featured in the show and had a beer.
That's a little next door to the stadium.
That's cool.
We got off. We took a rail from Manchester to Wrexham, and the thing I noticed on the rail, we also took to London, is that when you go through the countryside, I just had earbuds in and listened, and I just watched, and I just looked at the countryside. But the thing I noticed is that all the countryside is used, whether for farming or houses or whatever, there's no empty plain land. Like you could drive through Nevada and there's desert land all over the place. There they use, because it's such a small, island, that they use all the space basically, which is kind of surprising. If I had a gripe about Wrexham, though, it was the internet service in that town's horrible. Okay. The hotel we stayed at, it's kind of cool. We got off the train station, went up a hill, which was about 30, 40 feet. And then there's the hotel 100 feet away. And then on the other side, 150 feet is the stadium. So we got in, hit the store ahead of time. We checked in the motel, then walked to the stadium, took some photos, had the beer, hit the store. And then went back. Then we had met Amon and Rachel, and we had dinner. Then we saw the game. The thing in English soccer is you're not allowed to drink alcohol in the stands. You can only drink it in the back aisleways.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. You can take water, but they take the cap off. You can take soda, but they have no beer in there. And that's the only thing that'll take English people away from their beer is that soccer's playing. As soon as it's starting, they clear out. They'll guzzle the beer and go out because soccer's playing. It's about to start. So they like in Wrexham how this show has really helped them and everything. But for the locals, one of the downsides is when they wanted to get tickets for a friend, it's kind of tough now because everybody wants them. One other gripe, which I agree with, is the team is building. There's fandom around the world. We wouldn't have gone there if it wasn't for the show. And I got this jersey here. This is their practice jersey, warm-up jersey for this year. The thing is that they don't have a ton of merchandise available. Even in the stores trying to find.
Because they keep selling out?
Yeah, but they should, with the fandom around the world, you go on their website, it's like this is sold out, that's sold out. They should double the production of the jerseys because they would still sell anyways. That's the gripe of the people there. And in fact, when there was one jersey, we got the white jersey, the new away jersey. They limited us on those. You can only take 2. We wanted to get 3.
Wow.
Nope. We had to have somebody go act and get that jersey in the store later. Because say, what about my wife? That can't. Nope. You're together. We only 72 because it just came out yesterday. That kind of thing. It's like, what?
I respect that, though.
I know, but still, the team's growing, have the merchandise available.
But I get why they do that because they don't want people buying a bunch of and then tripling the price on eBay.
But even on the internet, though, that's the gripe. Even the local people are like, they don't get much merchandise versus what they should do, I think.
Alex has a question.
Now,
go ahead.
Do you think it's really the fact that they're limiting production in any way, or is it because one of the things that they showed in season 1 is how tight-knit that community is, how it is very much. Do you think it's because the people making their kits are local and they can only have so much bandwidth? Because the future of everything is going to be going to companies like Fanatics. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
They have figured out the model of let us handle all of that. It'll be available online. But with there being the limited availability of Wrexham gear, do you think it's because they're using a company that might be smaller?
They could still get more production in, I still think.
Well, the problem is that if they're using a smaller company, they absolutely can't. But that's why I'm saying, did you see anything about it being a local company that's making their stuff or anything?
No, I didn't. No, because they said we just got these in and so like the stuff that came in. So that's I think the only gripe that they had though. But it's a small town. There's a main street. We went to dinner and people are drinking before, having dinner before. Great time. They won 4-1 if I remember, 4-2. But they just moved up to League, which I like to. Then we went back to Manchester, had the big dinner, birthday celebration for the wife. Then we went to London to finish our trip up for the end part of the trip. And in London, we use the rail system there because we're staying in a hotel and stuff. And it's a good rail system. It's very complicated up front, but once you figure it out, it's a really good rail station. And there was talk how CM Punk got lost on the rail station. I understand why. Okay. Because I can get until you figure it out. But once you figure out they call it the tube because most of it's underground, 90%. Like I was saying, but then we went to base team is Chelsea, and we did see a Chelsea match, did the VIP stuff ahead of time, that kind of thing. And one thing, we went to the store. Can you see this? Igboonu had this made for me, Chelsea jersey this year. So I had to bring that up for that, but we both had a jersey made. She put Faithy on hers, and I put Igboonu on mine. And I put the 19 for our first date night, and she put 23 for our wedding anniversary.
Now, at any point, Don, did you look around and say, "You sound like you're from London"?
No, I didn't do that.
Okay.
I was with Emma, who's been my pen pal. The first time I went to London, I stayed with her back in '94. I've known her for 30 years now. We met up with her and had with her adopted kids and all that. And they kind of showed around the first day. Went to the Tower of London. One thing is when you go in to see the Crown Jewels, no photos. And they have people in every room, and they're like, you put the camera away, don't even think about bringing it out. And, because they have to be very secure, but that was very interesting to see that. Of course, the rail station will take you right there. We went to Big Ben and Parliament. It's real beautiful when you see it in real life. The pictures don't do it justice. All the gold. And Westminster Abbey is like 2 blocks away from Big Ben. 10 Downing Street, the way you can see of it, because this street's basically, gated off. That's about 3 blocks from Parliament. So a lot of that's in there. And we did the Eye, which is a couple blocks away also. That big Ferris wheel that goes around. Mm-hmm. They call that the Eye out there. That was one face thing she wanted to see. Chelsea, seeing that game was incredible. The one thing is I always wonder what it would be like to be in the stands during one of those games, and I understand now why. It was the crowd's going nuts the entire time. They're chanting the entire time. Even the away team are chanting the entire time. They have a way.
Let me ask you something. Yeah. And you'll forgive me because this is an honest to God question. I'm not doing a bit. I'm not poking.
Yes, go ahead.
Have you been to an MLS game before, or an MLS match, like FC Dallas?
No.
Okay, so the reason I was asking was I was looking to see if you could do a compare and contrast, because I know it's 2 completely different deals, because that's their thing over there. Yeah. But I do believe that MLS tries to encapsulate some of that spirit. Yeah. Because I've been to an FC Dallas match, and it is an absolute exercise in my ADD, because like 4 different drum lines at any given moment doing stuff, and I'm trying to concentrate on the match, and there's a lot going on in the stands, and I was just wondering how much of that spirit is there.
Huge. That's why it was so incredible.
Well, no. He's saying compared to MLS, which is why what I want to throw in is I think we should have a homework assignment for you, Don, since you're the only one of us that has seen true English football.
Yeah,
indeed.
You should go to FC Dallas whenever you can.
Yeah.
Go to a match and then come back to us with a report on the compare and contrast.
The stadium's about a third of the size, but it's a lot of fun. I've only been once, but I very much enjoyed the match I saw there.
But the Chelsea, we did the VIP package where we got to go out the tunnel where they come out, and we had the dinner with some past players and stuff like that. The thing was, we're in the VIP section, which is a top tier with those tickets, and the thing is, it's on the 5th level. And the problem is, one gripe with Chelsea in their stadium, because they've been using the same stadium the entire time since 1905 when the team came together. No escalators. So you had to do 5 flights of stairs and that kind of, They had an elevator for the paralyzed, but that's it. You get up, there's no escalators. Yeah. So that was one of my gripes there about that is no escalator. I will say that they were, and we learned the history of this, which is pretty funny. It was how they chose the name. It came between 2 names, and one was Chelsea, which they on the coin flip won, and they chose Chelsea. And they call it the Chelsea Football Club, or CFC. When you say CFC, everybody knows that's Chelsea out there.
Right.
The other team that they're going to flip on is Carrington. So think if Carrington would have won.
Would people be wondering if they were big Dynasty fans?
No, KFC. Get it? CFC, KFC.
Oh, I didn't know that was Carrington.
Oh, you didn't clarify how Carrington was spelled.
Carrington, I went to a C. So
okay,
now,
with the K.
Don, either way, it would still be CFC.
Yeah.
No,
yeah. And now, Don, you mentioned meeting some legends from Chelsea. Was Roy Kent there?
I did not see him. No.
Okay. Yeah. Let's be clear. He's doing a bit. Roy Kent.
I'm needling you just a little bit on Ted Lasso that I've told you that you should watch.
Roy Kent is a character on Ted Lasso.
Okay, no, I did not see Ted Lasso there.
And is a Chelsea
legend. Here, he's there.
Yeah,
he's everywhere.
Yeah.
So the one thing also that kind of bugs me is no AC in about 90% of England. They have the heaters, but if it gets hot there and it got humid. In the hotel we were at, which was nice, and the one in Wrexham, the Premier Inn, which is kind of a chain, kind of like Quality Inn, but a little bit higher. But I would say like DoubleTree, but between the two, they did have AC in that room, which was nice. But a lot of the hotels, they'll say we have AC, some don't. A lot of homes, like all the homes that we were at, where the family and stuff, there's no AC. But usually it only gets up to 70 degrees anyways.
Right, and that's why they don't have to have central air because it's nice and cool.
The one thing that it was really big when we were out there was the women hitting the World Cup final, the English women, and that was a huge story out there, a huge story. And so we're kind of rooting for them since we're out there at the time. So it was worth seeing. We had a extended trip. Of course, we talked about All In on the other show, but seeing some of that the Chelsea stadium, that made Faith happy. Her seeing her family, stuff like that. One other thing that kind of bugged me, though, you'd be driving down the road and it'd say, for here in the U.S., it'd say office space for lease or for rent, right? That's the normal U.S. You'd see a sign that says for rent or for lease.
The terminology, yeah.
Yeah. Office space to let.
Well, you have a question in the chat, Don, from Mike. How about compared to any sports here in America? Actually, we're going to put this on the screen.
Yeah.
There's Don, can you see that on your screen?
Yeah. I would say this, that you take a football game, American football, and how there's tailgating out there and stuff like that. They have the same amount of tailgating, but once you get into the stand, it's the fans are constant chant, constant thing. Go, go, go. It's all about the soccer. They will stop the beer to see soccer. So, yes, you could imagine the times when in a football game, it's 2 minutes left in the fourth, and you win you get that touchdown to put you 4 points ahead. That's the atmosphere during the entire game in England.
From whistle to whistle.
Yeah, whistle to whistle. The towns, there was constant drum beatings and stuff like that from some of the away teams and stuff like that. Even and the thing I like about the Premier League, they took on their town, Lytton Town, when we were out there. That's a team that was in the lower league last year. And how you stay in the top Premier League is your record. If you start floundering,
they actually
you go to level B.
Don't they say it is Premier?
Premier.
Fancier.
Yeah, but there'll be teams that like this. Like, look, there were 3 teams that moved up off the offseason because they had such a good record, and 3 teams that went down because they were bombing last year. So I kind of like that idea how teams could go from level A to level B if you're not playing good.
Yeah,
so,
we talked
Premier
about that.
to champions.
Yeah,
we talked a lot about that when the XFL came back around. How the NFL could really kind of do the kind of same, because I love the concept of promotion and relegation.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I love it. I'm on board with it. We need to adopt it. I'm just saying.
And there's no such thing as tanking when you're going to lose money because of losing. Yeah.
It's one of a couple of things real fast is going into Costco and seeing liquor everywhere was kind of weird. And I mean, in the store,
okay, Don, let's kind of be clear on that.
Yeah.
That does happen here.
They have a separate, like Costco have a separate.
No, but like where Alex and I are from, it's right there in the store too.
Hard liquor.
You're just used to the way Texas does things.
Yeah.
So there are people around the country that are like, that's every day. Now, one of the big chains in Florida, Publix, has its own little shop built into it, but most of the stores, it's just right there. Mike has another question for you, Don.
Go ahead.
So the stadiums cater to higher end seating where the executives of those seats will not be caught yelling on camera. That's kind of a fair point, I think, unless you're watching Ted Lasso.
Well, I'll say this: like when we went to Wrexham, we were in that newer stand, and up there was a couple like suites, and if Ryan Reynolds there, he's probably up there. But again, they just got the lights up. That team was about to die. I mean, they're getting 2,000.
They covered that in depth in the show.
Yes, and that's where they're so glad this thing turned around. And they're going to be basically have a new stadium over time. Like the problem with Chelsea is their seats 44,000. They're going to keep that stadium as long as humanly possible, but they want to expand it. And that's the hard part because it's that tradition of this is where we've been playing for over 100 years. This is where, but they always do a lot of upgrades and stuff like that. But seeing that's, and one of the things when we did shopping though, also is when we went in to get a cart, there's little connectors between the carts. To release your cart, you have to put a pound in and squeeze the thing, and it releases it.
Kind of like it. I think Aldi does.
Aldi does that.
Yeah. And then when you put the cart back,
there's a number of places in Florida that do that as well.
Yeah. And then when you put the cart back, you connect it, that you get the pound back. But if someone wants to steal cart, they just cut the thing. But there's weird stuff. Seeing weird stuff out there you can't get here, and vice versa. It's like. Does anybody has Gatorade? I only saw a little bit of Powerade, and that was it. We did bring back a lot of chocolate. We brought back some gifts from Faith. They brought back some jerseys. Again, the Cadburys, which for the people who don't know, Cadbury is in America like we get here, the Cadbury eggs. They're made by the Hershey Company in Pennsylvania. It's a different chocolate. It ain't the.
I saw you mention that on Facebook.
Yeah. So literally the Cadbury's you get in the store here is not true Cadbury. So that's why we brought back so much. And next weekend at the show, someone in this room might be getting a little bit. So, or these people in the room, so.
I say we're not in the same room, Don. You're on
this stage.
On this stage right here.
Which is what StreamYard calls it now.
Yeah, but literally I brought back 7 bottles of liquor. But I did claim them.
Allegedly.
7. Because I want to get stuff you can only get out there, like allegedly getting 3 things at the duty shop of, travel exclusives kind of thing. Allegedly. But I allegedly did claim everything. And they're like, fine, no problem, just claim it. You have to declare it.
Mike wants to know your address. It's an undisclosed location, Mike.
Let's say
you may or may not actually know his address. You just don't know it by name, Mike. You may have done an inspection.
What's that? What song address in Richardson?
Oh, that's that. Don't send them to Doc's house.
That's
but overall, an enjoyable experience.
Yeah, it was great.
Good.
Next year will be Nigeria. So
wow,
that'll be in a year from now.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. So
All right.
Well, thank you for the
Glad
time.
to have you back. Appreciate all the coverage you did over there for us. It was awesome.
Absolutely.
Let's dive right into the show. NASCAR today. Race just ended right before we went on the air at the Kansas Speedway, the Hollywood Casino 400. I have stayed at a hotel right next to this track, and it was in July, and it was 118 because of all the heat that comes off that track affects because there's like shopping and stuff all around it. So yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful area. And I think that's the track they featured in Logan Lucky too, if I'm not mistaken. Your top 10 finishers today, starting in 20. I think we had quite a bit going on. Looks like almost everybody finished the race. Truex only made it 3 laps, but everybody in the top 24 did finish the race today. Alex Bowman starts in 23rd and winds up in 10th, the Archer himself. Brad Keselowski starts in 12th, winds up in 9th. Christopher Ring My Bell in the number 20 Toyota starts in the pole position, but finishes 8th. Kyle Busch in the number 8 Chevrolet starts in 35th, winds up in 7th. Chase Elliott, attorney at law, he starts out in 4th and winds up in 6th. Joey Logano 11th to 5th. Kyle Larson, caveman attorney in the number 5 Chevrolet, starts in 2nd, winds up in 4th. Russ, I see you. Russ wants to let you know he loved the pictures you took, Don.
Thank you.
Eric Jones starts in 19th, winds up in the bronze medal. Denny moons over my Hamlin starts in 14th, winds up in the bronze, and winning the race today, starting in 5th and finishing 1st, is Tyler, the Adventures of Riddick. Let us go now to your points totals. I think I'm doing this right. There we go. We are in the playoffs, gentlemen. We are
nice.
Right in the midst of the playoffs. So
the complicated math of.
Yep. So right now, because they reset the points in every stage of the playoffs as well, right now we're looking at your top 12. Everybody else is just racing because of sponsorship money. Right now, Christopher Ring My Bell is only 44 points out of first place. He's 2 back on Logano. Logano 10 back on Ross. Don't you dare call me Jessica Chastain. Chastain 3 back on the Stone, Ryan Blaney. Blaney 2 back on Keselowski. Keselowski 2 back on Kyle Busch. He is 5 back on Truex. Truex 2 back on Hamlin, who's tied with Buescher. They're 3 back on Riddick. Riddick now 15 back on Byron. Byron now 1 back on Larson. Let's talk about where we're going next. Coming up next weekend is September the 16th at Bristol Motor Speedway for the Bass Pro Shops night race. I wonder when that's going to take place. That'll be on the USA. And then after that, we'll be back. They'll be back here in our Fairburg at Texas Motor Speedway for the Auto Trader Echo Park Automotive 400 on the 24th at 3:30 in the afternoon. Now let's talk about good stuff. Football is back, baby. Oh, life is good. Let's talk college. Yesterday, found out Pat McAfee show debuted on Thursday for ESPN. I forgot that was happening. Louisville 56-0 over Murray State. Hope you had Louisville minus whatever the heck it was. Indiana 41-7 over Indiana State. They're the Sycamores. I did not know that. Let's see. Other number 9 Notre Dame all over the Wolfpack of North Carolina State 45-24. Wake Forest wins by 16. Colorado wins again 36-14 over Nebraska. Coach Deion Prime Sanders now 2-0 with the Buffaloes. So, of course, those ratings are now through the roof for anybody watching Colorado games. Number 15, K-State 42-13 over Troy. Ohio State beats Youngstown State. You think they'd get older players? 35-7. Penn State all over the Fighting Blue Hens of Delaware. Love it.
The Fighting Joe Flacco's.
Army 57-0 over Delaware State. So there is a Delaware and a Delaware State. You would think. I don't know.
We're in Delaware.
Number 2, I was avoiding it. Number 12, Utah over Baylor by a touchdown. Georgia holds on to the number 1 spot as they beat Ball State 45-3. Sucks to have the under as Central Michigan beats New Hampshire 45-42. Number 25, Iowa over Iowa State 20-13. There was somebody I know that was at that game, and I can't think of who it was at this point. Another game, sucks to have the under. Miami of Florida beats Texas A&M 48-33. Defense, question mark? Number 2, Michigan over UNLV 35-7. Sparty with a big win over the Richmond Spiders. Navy blanks Wagner 24-0. Toledo. If you didn't have Toledo, I feel bad for you because they beat Texas Southern 71-3. Ole Miss number 17, 37-20. Around the league, number 11, Tennessee beats Austin P. The Governors 30-13. Duke still ranked number 21 as they beat Lafayette by 5 touchdowns. Number 19, Oklahoma beats SMU by 2 touchdowns and a field goal there. They were at home, of course, for that game. Texas over Alabama by 10 in a game where most of your scoring happened in the fourth quarter because I looked up and it was 16-13 in the third. So I was actually booked last night, but I was keeping an eye on some of the games. So they got that going for you. Oregon beats Texas Tech by 8. They're number 13 currently. My South Florida Bulls won a game hosting the Florida A&M Rattlers. Florida wins over McNeese State 49-7 because we need a win. Number 23, Washington State over Badger, Mushroom, 31-22. LSU shows Grambling State the door, 72-10. Come on, man. Number 24, UCLA over San Diego State by 25. Air Force gets a win over Sam Houston State by 10. Number 3, Florida State wins. Number 16, Oregon State 55-7 over UC Davis, and USC 56-10 over Stanford. And now it's week 1. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, I've waited so long. Let's talk about Thursday night for a minute. Thursday night, the NFL opens with the Detroit Lions at the Kansas City Chiefs. There was a lot of talk going into this game that wasn't the line on that was what, 2.5, if I remember correctly?
It started at 7.5. Then Kelsey was out and it was 4.5 and moved towards 3.
Just breaking news real quick. Djokovic wins the U.S. Open. Okay. An amazing... I was going to turn the game off in the third quarter because it's late. I'm old. I need to sleep. And then Detroit scores, and I'm like, well, I'm watching the rest of this game now.
Yup.
But I take issue with Mike Tirico.
On which level?
At the end of the game, Tirico says this game should have an asterisk next to it because no Chris Jones, no Travis Kelce. I have issue. I declare shenanigans on this. Nope. Sorry, wrong button.
This has been breaking shenanigans.
I declare shenanigans because here's the thing. If you're the champs, you're the champs. And if you're good enough, you have depth on your bench to win games. There should never be, when you are the defending Super Bowl champions, there should never be we had a couple of players out, so this should have an asterisk. That is crap, and I am saying it now. Mike Tirico, you should be ashamed.
And I agree with you 100%.
I think you're both doing old man yells at cloud. I don't think he meant there's a literal asterisk. I was thinking he struggled to find what he meant was a footnote to the game was people missing. So it's not indicative of what the Chiefs could be.
It's not about what he meant. It's about what he said.
It's what you interpret, and I did not take it that way, so I don't take issue.
Those are the words that came out of his mouth.
Oh, I understand, but I'm thinking it's not as dramatic as what you're portraying.
I still believe that your opener for the season should be a rematch of the Super Bowl, but that's just me.
Well, if that does line up like it did a few seasons ago, they tend to actually do that. But not always, those teams don't always play each other each year because there's been a schedule rotation that has existed for decades now.
And good on you, MCDC.
Absolutely. And the rest of the team.
I'm looking forward to seeing what Detroit does going forward. Earlier today, Atlanta was giving 3.5. Didn't need it because they beat Carolina by 2 touchdowns.
That was a close game until halftime.
Cleveland all over Cincinnati. Jacksonville beats Indy by 10 in a game that almost got away from Jacksonville, but they got the wheels on the thing. Tampa Bay scrambles a little bit, but wins the game by...
Look away, Mike. Look away, Mike.
Not really indicative, I think, of either team, honestly. But again, week 1 is a weird animal. It just always is.
I will say I saw a lot of good from Tampa Bay I did not anticipate, but Minnesota's struggles are what was expected.
New Orleans gives 2.5. If you took it, you didn't win because they only beat Tennessee by a point in a game that it had moments. Can we say that?
Yeah.
San Francisco, my fantasy defense, all over your Steelers, Don. San Francisco was given 1.5 and beat them by 23.
What was the total? Because I saw it's 27-7. What was this?
It was 37. They 30-7. They got a field
37. Goal. Okay.
The Washington Football Club needed. If you took them, you didn't win, but they won 20-16. The Baltimore Ravens beaten up on the human Texans. I can't talk today. The Houston.
Well, they are human.
Yeah, we're all human. Mike says he's blaming turnovers on the Minnesota loss.
Mm-hmm.
Green Bay beats Chicago by 18 in a game that Jordan Love's starting to show some promise. I now have a TV in the studio and I have Red Zone on, so I'm kind of keeping a blind eye on what's going on over here. Sorry, Alex, didn't mean to say that. But I get one of those a year, and that was it. But Chicago was giving them 1.5.
Yeah, well, at home, Chicago has a lot of promise. I liked what I saw in a lot of scopes of Chicago. If you go back to our NFL preview show, I did speak highly of Green Bay and what development Jordan Love could have. And holy God, did he show all of it. Because he was without his best receiver. Don't need an asterisk. And still lit up the world.
Baker Mayfield today, 21 of 34, 173 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Because that's all they needed.
And now he's got keys to a new stadium.
He's got keys to a ship.
I want new commercials now.
Yes.
I want him as a pirate captain on the ship.
Actually, I want them to do the thing they did with the Can You Hear Me Now guy and have him going for a different insurance company.
Vegas.
Like, yeah, the other guys fired me.
Vegas beats Denver on the road by a point in a game that started strong and then lulled for the next 3 quarters. Philly over New England. You go up 17-0 and then you give up 20.
They started pulling back, and that's why you can't do that in the NFL.
And also New England honoring Tom Brady today at halftime as well. My Dolphins.
Are we just going to gloss over the fact that they honored Tom Brady while they were playing one of the 2 teams that have beat him in a Super Bowl?
Well, they had that new screen. Looks great.
That they do.
Tua absolutely playing out of his mind the one Sunday I don't need him to.
It's a lot of yards.
Yeah. And they hit the over-under.
In the third quarter.
Yeah, because 36-34 Clippers. I see LAC and I keep thinking Clippers. Chargers giving them 3. And Seattle loses, 30-13 to the Rams. The Rams were getting 4.5 in that. Looks like everybody's done at this point, so we're getting into the night game. Dallas at the Giants. Dallas giving 3, over under 44.5. I would take the Giants +3 because I think the Giants win this game.
I agree too. I agree. I take the Giants on this one. I think they're going to be underrated.
I don't think the Giants will win this outright, but I am very glad I got the number at 3.5. It could go very poorly, but I also think that this is one of those weird games that you take the underdog because you expect the under to hit. Because this one looks to me like it's going to be one of those like 24-21, so it's right at the number, right above it. Could be 24-17, and that would flip it, but I think it's going to be close, like 2017 Cowboys.
And Mike also has the Giants as well. Tomorrow night,
that doesn't bode well for my shirt.
Your Monday night opener, Bills at Jets. I would love a 0-0 tie out of this. Buffalo giving 1.5. I, again, not falling for the Hard Knocks rope-a-dope. I'm going to take Buffalo minus the 1.5. I think that the Jets are starting to figure it out, but they're not going to figure it out tomorrow night against a team that there might be some inner turmoil. Stephon Diggs making a bunch of noise, but this is a team this is a divisional game. Buffalo wins this game.
Yeah. I don't see Buffalo losing unless it's a very, very large reason why. And that would be if Diggs doesn't show up or something in that scope. Mike actually agrees on the Bills. I get Bills every day. They win every time.
I see Buffalo winning this one.
Sorry, I had to change over to Football Night in America.
Absolutely.
All the games are over, which means there's going to be no more Red Zone today. But we have Red Zone back. Thank you, YouTube TV.
Yes.
Let's look at week 2,
Scott
gentlemen.
Hansen,
coming up.
Or Chris.
Come again?
Scott Hansen, we missed you.
Yes. And he's got it all now.
Mm-hmm.
So Thursday night on the Amazon Prime, which means we get Prime Vision back. And I'm very excited about this because it's my favorite way to watch a game. Mike's Minnesota Vikings are at the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't have any lines yet.
Well, that's because you had Philadelphia still has to finish their game. They have to figure out what's going on. And he's immediately covering his ears. I will take a look at it. You feel free to cover.
Philly, not very dominant from what I watched today. There's something to them. I'm not willing to put them in Vegas in February yet. I think Minnesota's going to get there. This is going to be a close game. If this line is less than 7, I would take Minnesota either way. Mike's even taking the Eagles. Regardless. Don, what do you think?
Well, that's his own anti-bias.
Eagles.
We also have 2 different weeks this year before it's all said and done, in the middle of everything where nobody has the bye. Alex and I were talking about that at our fantasy football draft last Monday.
2 separate weeks.
That's what I was saying. We have 2 weeks in there. It's like week 12 and week 8 or something crazy, or week 6. Like, it's weird.
Look ahead was Eagles -7, by the way.
Okay. I would
in that scope, I'll take Vikings.
Yeah. Next Sunday, your early games, we start on your local Fox affiliate, the Atlanta Falcons hosting the Green Bay Packers. Give me the Packers all day. They looked great today. Falcons are the Falcons. Let's be real.
Mm-hmm.
Give me Green Bay.
What was that number again?
I don't have any lines at all.
Oh, okay. Then Don, go ahead. I'm gonna.
I'll take Green Bay. Straight up, I'd take Green Bay.
Yeah, straight up, it's Green Bay. It's all depending on the spread, but you know what? Atlanta actually looked pretty good today. Now, you should against a bad team, but still.
Let's just take them all straight up so Alex doesn't have to do too much research. We can keep it moving because we're already at 49 minutes. Also, early next Sunday, Raiders at Bills. Give me Buffalo. Raiders don't have the wheels completely on yet, and you have to play pretty much flawless football to beat the Buffalo Bills. Don.
Bills. Easily.
Alex?
Bills -8. The Raiders did not look good in a hurricane-level storm against Denver. It's Bills every way.
Baltimore at Cincinnati. On one side, I've got the greatest kicker of all time. The other side, I've got a guy making $55 million a year to get me like 3 points today. I'm so angry.
That didn't sound bitter.
I mean, Baltimore's probably going to win this game.
Ravens.
Real quick drop back. The look ahead on the Packers Falcons was actually the Falcons favored by 1.5. Yeah, that's not going to stay.
I take the Ravens.
Alex?
You know, I've long said I was really excited to see this Ravens offense, and it didn't disappoint. Unfortunately, we did get some bad news today. J.K. Dobbins, it is confirmed he did tear his Achilles.
Out for the season. Yep. And that's
that may be a career ender.
Yeah. That's a year minimum.
Yeah. But you know what? Justice Hill and Gus Edwards look good. I don't think that's going to be much of a drop off. So Ravens all the way.
Seattle at Detroit. Seattle they looked good, not great today. I expect to see Detroit go 2-0.
Detroit minus 2.5.
Oh, I'm taking Detroit. Detroit.
I think I'm worried that Detroit may be on too much of a high beating Kansas City in such a marquee game. But Dan Campbell has his guys ready every week. So give me Detroit.
Chargers at Titans. I think the Titans rebound this week. This is a much better team than they looked today. Give me Tennessee in this particular affair.
I take Chargers on this one.
Minus 3.5 to the Chargers.
Yeah,
Okay.
I take the Chargers 3.
And what time does this kick off?
This is a noon kickoff. But
Yeah, that's a tough one because you have a West Coast team going to the East Coast.
No, I thought they were on Central Time.
Well, it depends on which side of the state you're on, and I don't remember which.
I believe
Nashville
they're
is.
in Nashville's on Central Time.
Okay, because that line runs right down the middle of Tennessee.
Let's find out together. Hey, Siri.
Yeah, but at that same point,
What time is
the
it?
Chargers looked really good on offense. That defense struggled, but that could have had more to do about Miami.
They're on Central Time. Siri just verified it for me. And thank you for Alex corrected me. It's not Kansas that Logan Lucky was in. It was Charlotte and Atlanta. So let's see here. Also, early games, Chicago at Tampa Bay. I don't know how I feel about this.
Bears by 1.5 is the
Give me
line.
Tampa Bay plus 1.5. I think they're going to win it, but it's going to be another squeaker.
Sorry, Don, go ahead.
I'm going to take the Bears.
The real interesting thing on this one is that the Bucs defense looked really, really good against Minnesota, who have a good offense. You know what? And they stopped the run pretty convincingly against Madison. So I kind of got to lean away from the Bears. I got to lean on the Bucs at home.
And Mike Evans, the deal's not going to get done this week, I don't think. So we're going to have to.
Oh, no. That deadline's already passed. They've flat out said
yesterday,
it.
wasn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
I remember a commercial yesterday or this Saturday. Kansas City goes to Jacksonville. This is going to be a fun game to watch. This might be this has to be your CBS featured game.
Chiefs favored by 3. I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, you're good because you got it. I don't. I would take Chiefs minus 3. I think they win it by 7. I don't think they blow out the Jaguars. I just don't, because this team is on the rise.
Jacksonville did not look great against the Colts today, but the bigger thing here is this Chiefs team might have just had their fire lit under them earlier than they did, because if you remember the last time they won the Super Bowl, they wound up putzing around at like 3-3 and then wound up going to a game that they were supposed to smoke the, at the time, Oakland Raiders, and the Raiders beat them down. This might have been the fire lighting for the Chiefs to really get started. And Jaguars, they kind of showed some holes in their game. They held on to win against the Colts, but they didn't look great. So I'm going to take the Chiefs, and I think they do win by a touchdown.
And Russ says that he's got Mahomes on his fantasy team, so he's got to root for him. So, Don.
Me with the points, I take Jacksonville.
All right. The last of your early games next Sunday, Indy at Houston.
Houston favored by 1.
Give me Indianapolis +1.
Same with me, Indy.
I got no further in-depth coverage. I don't trust the Houston Texans. I just don't. Although respect to the University of Houston for having those Oilers colored jerseys they're wearing this year. I think it's awesome.
I really would be. I feel like I can't honestly take a point right now because I need to know how Anthony Richardson is, because that kid looked way better than I anticipated him looking, and I thought he was going to be good. But as the strange situation, I'll take Houston.
He did walk away under his own power, though.
Yes. No. It was a head injury. That was the gist. It looked like, because he took a shot to the head and they were worried about his knee. But at that same time, it's everybody looks good until they wind up on an injury report. Yep. But Houston looked a lot better than I anticipated them looking, and D'Amico Ryans had that team ready and the defense looking better. But kudos to CJ Stroud for joining Brett Favre in the elite. My first pass goes to a future Hall of Famer potentially of himself.
And today, the first week 1 that the Packers didn't have a starting quarterback named Favre or Rodgers in 31 years.
Yup, since 92. And that can you name that starter that was before them, though?
Bart Starr.
No.
Oh, okay.
Don?
No, I don't know.
Majowski. The most Milwaukee name ever.
Never would have got it.
Don Majowski.
Into the late games next Sunday. San Francisco traveling south to the Rams. The Rams didn't look bad today.
4.5.
LA giving.
Shockingly, shout out to Tutu and Puka.
LA giving or San Francisco giving?
San Francisco's giving.
I would take San Francisco, though, man. They looked good today.
You know what? I almost texted you to say, I am kind of leaning towards your Super Bowl prediction now because they looked electric.
That defense gave me 22 points. That's a quarter of my total points at this point. Not that it's going to matter.
And don't get it confused. Pittsburgh still has a great defense, and it didn't matter.
Yeah.
But Tutu Atwell and Puka Nacua definitely looked good for the Rams today. It's not going to be enough against the Niners defense.
And it looks like we have a lot of rain at MetLife Stadium right now.
As was expected, yes.
Don, your pick for this game, San Francisco.
They look good today. I'm going to take the 49ers on that one.
Mm-hmm. Giants will be at Arizona in one. We have 4 late games next week. I hate that they do this. New York's given 4. Give me the Giants giving them 10. Arizona looked terrible today. Arizona looked like I was watching a 3-hour Three Stooges sketch. Give me the Giants.
What's really funny is Arizona didn't look bad early on, and then all of the cracks in the armor that was made of cardboard fell off. But when you are openly starting Josh Dobbs, you are tanking to try and get the top 2 picks because you want Caleb Williams and you want Marvin Harrison Jr. Arizona is going to do everything they can not to win, even against the Giants. And I feel like 4 was too high of a number, but not anymore. Today was bad.
Don,
what's the line again?
4. New York
4.
Giving Arizona
Giants
4.
giving 4.
I'd take the Giants.
The other side of New York, the Jets will be here in our Fairburg, so nobody playing in MetLife Stadium next Sunday. Cowboys giving 3. Give me the Jets +3.
Yeah,
I may regret that decision after watching this game tonight, but my gut tells me give me the Jets +3.
I will 100% say that is going to be one of my competitive picks next week, assuming everybody comes out of Monday healthy, because that Jets defense is going to expose how bad Dallas actually is without Kellen Moore.
I'd take the Jets.
Last of the late games next week, Washington at Denver.
The people that don't get to watch this win.
Washington did not look bad today. What's the line?
3.5. Denver favored.
Give me Washington all the way.
Now, I was speaking highly of Sam Howell leading Washington, but I said that he wasn't going to be enough for them to get over the hump. I may have been wrong.
That
because
defense
he looked really good. That offense looks good. The defense was solid even without their best player in Chase Young. The only thing that would have me worry about this would be the fact that Denver has the best home field advantage right now because of elevation. And I still would take Washington because Denver looked like crap.
I'll take Washington on this one.
Sunday night next week, we are in Foxborough as New England hosts Miami. Tua threw for the better part of 500 yards today.
I have a fun question for you. When was the last time the Dolphins were favored in New England? Because I feel like last year it didn't even happen.
I think it tends to happen if they play New England in December, because for some reason they tend to have New England's number in December.
That's not how they're going to set lines, but I understand where you're coming from. But Miami is favored by 2.5.
Give me that. They looked great today.
Give me the Dolphins by 14.
Yeah, this team. Remember what I said in our NFL preview extravaganza, which is why I think we have gimmick infringement, because we took their gimmick first. This team scares me in the best possible way.
That was electric. The last few minutes, it was just me doing this. And I'm actually a little bit upset about how it finished, because I had a very large ticket from Las Vegas, allegedly, that would have cashed for something with commas in it or a comma in it, and the Dolphins ruined it. And they were the only one.
I'd take Miami on this one.
Oh, Don, you may be muted.
No, I heard him.
Nope, I'm just delayed.
I heard him.
Okay.
We have a doubleheader Monday night next week.
Doubleheader. Oh, wow.
Yeah, which usually happens in week 1, but I think because tomorrow is Patriots Day, they probably only get one game.
Okay.
Next week, and they start an hour apart, so it's not even like you're going to watch a doubleheader. You're going to have a lot of overlap. 6:15 Central next Monday night. New Orleans at Carolina.
New Orleans favored by 1.5.
Give me New Orleans.
I can take Carolina.
They did enough to win today. Carolina did a whole bunch to lose.
No.
I think they turn around. That's gonna be my shocker one. I'm gonna say Carolina for my upset of the week.
I wouldn't call that a huge shocker, just because New Orleans historically struggles their first game out of the dome, and it seems to always be against Carolina or Tampa. So the division rivalry kicks in. But 1.5, I don't think is going to be enough, because the Saints looked good. I just need to see it on grass to feel confident about my preview pick of them being the 2 seed.
And your second game of the 2 next Monday night, Cleveland goes to Accenture Field.
Well, it's the home of Acupuncture Stadium has favored by 1 against the Browns, which I'm not sure is going to stay the same, just because Cleveland beat Cincinnati pretty convincingly and Pittsburgh got beat pretty convincingly by the 49ers, but Pittsburgh didn't look terrible. I think it's just that the Niners are a buzzsaw. It's also going to depend on Deontay Johnson's hamstring. I haven't heard anything on that. Don, have you?
No, I haven't. Nothing.
It looks bad in this game. Home opener. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. I like Pittsburgh in this.
I can take my Steelers on this one.
All right. We still have to remember that there is baseball going on.
Oh, boy.
Let's get into your standings. American League East. The New York Yankees currently in last place, a game below 500. So remember, this is the on fire division of Major League Baseball this year. They're a game. Let me put this in frame for you. They're a game below 500. They're 19 and a half out.
Yeah.
Let that sink in. They're 2 back on Boston. Boston 7 back on Toronto. Toronto now 6.5 back on Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's 1-3, but they're still 3 behind Baltimore. In the AL Central, we do get to play America's secondary favorite game. How many wins separate the leader of the AL Central from the last place team of the AL East? Don.
I'm going to say 3.
All right, Alex.
Wait, Don, who's ahead by 3? The Central or the Yankees?
The Yankees.
All right.
Okay. For the first time playing this game, because it's been a little while, I'm actually going to take the leader of the AL Central, and I'm going to say they're up by 7.
So at the bottom of the AL Central is Kansas City, who is the first team, I believe. Let me verify this. The first team to reach the century mark in losses. They are 44 and 100. They are 31 and a half games out. Yes.
Did they beat Oakland?
Oakland's got 99. They're not far behind.
Yeah.
They're only a half game back.
Oh, but we may have a different America's favorite games. But anyways, that's later.
One moment, please. Kansas City is 11 and a half back on the White Sox. The White Sox now 11 back on Detroit. Detroit is a game and a half back on Cleveland. Cleveland now 7 and a half back on Minnesota. The New York Yankees are 71 and 72. They are 4 games behind Minnesota, who's 75 and 68. So right now, the Minnesota Twins would be in 3rd place in the AL East. Everybody else is behind the Yankees.
Nice.
Unbelievable. In the AL West, Oakland is 37 and a half back. They are 18 and a half back of Law. Law is 12 back on the Rangers. The Rangers now a half game back on Seattle. Seattle now 2.5 back on Houston. In the National League, in the West, the Colorado.
Before we get too far away from that, did you see the headline for the AL West?
I'm not for sure.
That the Angels have openly said that they would be willing to trade Mike Trout if he asked.
I saw a headline, but I didn't see what the in-depth part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta say, I want to show you that. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about the 91. In the NL West, the Colorado Rockies are 35 and a half games out of first place. They are 14 and a half back on the Padres. The Padres now 6 back on the Giants. The Giants 2 back on Arizona. The Dodgers now running away with it. They are now 13 games up in the division. In the NL Central, St. Louis 16 and a half back. They are 3 back on Pittsburgh. Don, you're 7 back on Cincinnati. Cincinnati now 3.5 back on the Cubs. The Cubs 3 back on Milwaukee. In the only division that matters, the NL East, the Nationals are still terrible. They're 29 and a half back. You're a game and a half up on them, Alex.
We're not last. We're not last.
You're 8.5 back on the Marlins. The Marlins now 4.5. Now the first team to clinch a playoff spot as they are up 15 games in the division.
Yeah, it's Atlanta's world. We're all just around it.
God. All Acuna does is hit dingers.
And steal
all right.
bases.
Let us, 2060 first time ever.
30-60 first time.
Well, now it is. He was 2060. Now he's 30-60.
Yeah, it's the Justin Jefferson stat of he already has the record for 4 years and it hasn't even started.
Well, did you see what happened when he got the 60th one? It was at the Dodgers. Freddie Freeman came up to him after the game and brought him the base.
That's nice. Freddie Freeman's good people.
Yeah, still angry about that. Let's play North America's favorite game show. What is the run differential for the Oakland Athletics?
Oh, I thought it was going to be the Royals because of what you said.
Oh, God, no. These guys are pathetic.
Oh, wait till you see that comparison.
Oh, by the way, it's been a month since I've done this. So, yeah.
It's been a month since we've done this, period, Don.
Yeah.
He's not wrong.
Okay.
It's a 90-minute show, gentlemen.
So who goes first?
I don't care.
We're waiting on the host to tell us who to go first.
Alex, go now.
Okay, they didn't make it to 100 losses yet, so I'm going to say 284, minus 284.
Don.
Last time I think they were like 275, and that's a month ago. I'm going to be daring. I'm going to say negative 310.
So let's first look at the Kansas City Royals.
Okay.
The Kansas City Royals are 44 and 100, as previously mentioned. That is a 306 winning percentage. In contrast, the Oakland Athletics are 44-99. That is a 308 winning percentage.
So they're only a half game ahead.
As previously mentioned, yes. Kansas City is 6 games closer to first place than Oakland is. Oakland is 37.5 back. Kansas City has 2 more wins on the road. Oakland has 2 more wins. I'm sorry. Kansas City has 2 more wins at home. Oakland has 2 more wins on the road. Kansas City has lost 4 in a row. Oakland has lost 2 in a row. The Kansas City run differential is a minus 184. The Oakland Athletics run differential minus 298, gentlemen.
Oh, I thought it was over the 300.
My rule was I wasn't going to say 300 until they lost 100 games, which is why I got so excited about it.
And I think Atlanta's in like the 240s plus now. It's ridiculous.
Oh, God.
All right, let's get into as much pop culture as we can get into 20 minutes. Max announcing they have renewed, and just like that, the Sex and the City sequel for season 3. And in shocking news on multiple levels, Real Sports with Bryant Gumbel will end after 29 seasons. I thought it was running longer than that.
They're ending
You
it.
know, I wouldn't
Yeah.
have anything.
Real Sports with Bryant Gumbel ends after season 29.
Wow. Because
I
that's
really-
always been a steadfast for.
Yep.
And I always like every month I watch it, and they have got some great
Does you-
stuff. And I don't know why they're not renewing it. I don't know.
Dallas
He might want to
Fort Worth
retire.
fan,
Let's be honest.
If the Cowboys win, you get a free taco at Taco Bueno.
But
That
the
just
thing is, if I can real fast, on Real Sports, it's been different correspondents come in. Anybody can do the hosting when it comes down to it. He just says, our next story is about this, and he got a correspondent who does it.
Unless Max says you don't have a show.
Yeah.
Speaking of cancellations, the OWN network cancels All Rise after 3 seasons.
Mm.
Paramount Plus announcing that Jeremy Renner will return for season 3 of Mayor of Kingstown. I've heard very, very good things about this show.
As have I.
Oh, we also, Russ, I'll talk about that here in just a minute. And the Frasier revival will start October the 12th. So get ready for that on the pair. I'm currently binging Star Trek Strange New Worlds. I'm almost to the end of season 1. So had a lot going on this week, so I didn't get to make a whole lot of headway.
Yeah.
TV on DVD and Blu-ray this week. We have that can't be right. We'll do it anyway. I want to say this is wrong. Hold on.
Go for it.
Because I plugged this stuff into last week's run sheet. I don't want to be wrong, because if I'm going to be wrong, I'm going to be wrong. Okay, so I do have this week's stuff. Hey, I did it right. Season 1 of Poker Face available from the Peacock this week. Walking Dead, Dead City Season 1. Season 2 of Abbott Elementary. Season 5 of Cobra Kai, because Season 6 is about to start. You get a box set of seasons 1 through 6 of Rick and Morty available this week. Season 10 of Chicago PD. Season 13, Voyage 3 of One Piece, which last night on Collision, Keith Lee wearing a very nice One Piece hoodie. And the complete series of Succession available on Blu-ray and DVD this week. As Russell said in the chat room, found out this morning that country music superstar you may want to mute when you're going to do that, Don, because it's right in my ear.
I didn't have time. Sorry.
Country music singer Charlie Robison passed away this morning at the age of 59. We wanted to recognize that, especially if you're a Texas country person, you know who Charlie Robison is. Yes, Alex.
I don't know who that is.
He's very big in red dirt country, Texas country,
Okay.
kind of that genre. Not really your jam. But
I didn't know if there was like that was this person, like that would be like I know it tangentially. I was just asking.
No, that's okay. We want to send our best out to his family, friends, and fans. Also, this week we found out, or within the last couple of weeks, Lauryn Hill is going to tour the 25th anniversary of her album, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. And we also found out, starting next month on that tour, there will be a Fugees reunion. And I am very excited because I love me some Fugees. Russ says Charlie Robinson was married to one of the Chicks, as they are known now.
I don't know what that is either.
Dixie Chicks.
Formerly the Dixie Chicks.
I think
They're
I've heard
now
of them.
just the Chicks. Does the name Megan Hilty mean anything to you, gentlemen?
I don't
Not
believe
really.
so.
She was on a show on NBC called Smash that was about the behind the scenes of a Broadway musical. My wife was a big fan of this show. She is currently in a musical version of the why did I just lose her name? Goldie Hawn and good Lord, why is my Meryl Streep, Bruce Willis, Goldie Hawn, I believe, are your three primaries. Actually, I'm probably wrong. Oh, yeah. Isabella Rossellini's in it. The movie Death Becomes Her. Musical.
Yes.
Megan Hilty is currently in the touring company of that. Mary Ellen Trainor was in this. You might remember her as the therapist from the Lethal Weapon series. Mimi Kennedy also in the original film, which came out 1992.
I very much like that movie.
Also announced this week, there will be a 30th anniversary edition of Nirvana's In Utero. If you get the right version of it, there's 53 unreleased tracks, including 2 full concerts.
Whoa.
One of those concerts will be their final Seattle performance that releases October 27th, the same day we
That's
go see
a
the
lot.
Mummies. The Day of Mummies. We go see the Mummies that day. Very excited. Music new releases in places you get music new releases this week. One of my personal favorites, Bare Naked Ladies, got a new album this week. That is called In Flight. Another one of a favorite, at least of one person in Alex's household, Corey Taylor with CMF2 releasing this Friday. Corinne Bailey Ray releases Black Rainbows. Demi Lovato with a brand new album this week called Revamped. P. Puff Diddy Daddy has a brand new album called The Love Album Off the Grid. It was also announced this week that he took all of the publishing rights to the Bad Boy stuff and gave it back to the artists. So shout out to the P. Puff Diddy Daddy. 30 Seconds to Mars has a new album this week. Jared Leto. It's called It's the End of the World, but It's a Beautiful Day. I like that. I like that title.
I like that. It's very accurate too. But I was thinking, with a actor's strike, that's probably freeing him up a bit.
Yeah. And Willie Nelson releases Bluegrass this week. Not a strain.
Probably needs 2 things for him.
Let's get into box office numbers from our.
Hold on, if we can.
Mm-hmm.
We got to talk about somebody passing away. Guy I've seen in concert 31 times.
Last weekend, we did lose Jimmy Buffett.
Yep.
Absolute legend in the business.
Yep.
I put up my own version of my own tribute on my Facebook page last weekend as well. If you're somebody like Alex and myself, it's ingrained in your DNA that you listen to Jimmy Buffett, and there's nothing doggone well wrong with that. Absolute legend in the business. And from every account I've ever read from any human ever, a high quality human being.
When I met him, he was incredible. And I'm going to say this, that Gary Murray always said, just go once. He always talked to Jimmy Buffett, and I went once, and that's all it took. And 31 times later. And I had so many good memories with family, friends, and I'm never going to get all but 2 of those odd concerts I've been to were with Gary. All but 2, And the worst one I was seeing, no, actually, I hate to say it, 3. 1 while he's alive, 2 after he passed. And how do you replace it? You can't, And when I did meet him, he took a picture with us. He's really cool about it. Really nice guy. One of the greats. That's what, yeah.
One of my 2 favorite people I've ever had a beer with.
Yep. Indeed. Let's get into box office numbers from our friends at Box Office Mojo. Stop dropping out of the top 10 this week. Looks like only one, and it is the Alex reviewed Strays that makes $810,000, 4 weeks, $22.9 million.
I'd appreciate the clicks, but if you want the brief, don't.
Also, Talk to Me dropped from 10 to 12 this week. $903,000, 7 weeks, $46 million. They're going to be okay. Dropping from 7 to 10 in its second week, actually its third week, Bottoms makes another $2 million. 3 weeks, $7.6 million. Get ready, Alex, because dropping from 6 to 9. Teenage Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, $2.6 million. 6 weeks, $111.3 million. Oppenheimer drops from 5 to 8 this week. Another $3 million. 8 weeks, $315 million domestic. Gran Turismo drops from 4 to 7 this week. $3.4 million. 3 weeks, $35.7 million. Very much enjoyed this film. Not as much as Don did, but very much enjoyed this film. Blue Beetle drops from the bronze medal to 6th place with $3.8 million. Oh, singing the national anthem tonight at the game is the Queen Latifah. Dana Owens. Very nice. Blue Beetle has now made $63.7 million. A lot of people giving it very, very good reviews. Barbie drops from the silver medal to 5th place at $5.9 million. 8 weeks, Barbie has made domestic $620.5 million.
Is that all?
The Indian film Jawan debuts in 4th place this week with $6.2 million. My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3 makes $10 million, opens in 3rd place. Very much enjoyed this film as well. The Equalizer 3 drops from the gold to the silver this week, another $12.1 million. Worldwide, it's already cleared $100 million in 2 weeks.
Good.
I do plan on seeing it because I very much enjoyed the first 2. And winning the weekend is The Nun 2 because there were so many unanswered questions from The Nun. $32.6 million for this movie.
Actually, there was a couple questions from the first one. Maybe they are answering it.
I wouldn't know. But this summer, the box office cleared $4 billion for the first time since the pandemic. So we're getting back to that place. Half of it's good. 2 movies.
You know what? It's there.
We got there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if I mention the name of a movie, I am curious as to if you gentlemen know about it. It's called The Wrecking Crew.
I feel like I do know this.
It's not about A&M.
No.
It's a buddy action comedy with the Batista and the Momoa.
Yep.
I want to go to there. I read this and I'm like, there's no way this is not going to be brilliant. It's not.
Or at least the most fun you're going to have for an hour and a half.
Or the one set I just want to hang out at for about a week and a half.
Well, we need to get Batista to like do something with his head because right now, whatever he's doing with that hair is not working.
And what are Sean's thoughts on the video game Stray?
She is not aware of it.
Is that
it
on
is?
Purpose?
Well, I know she's not watching because she's at dinner, but there is a copy of it hiding right over there by the PS5.
Well, Annapurna Studios is making the movie.
Yup.
So if you're going to be in a video game about a stray cat, there's going to be a movie coming. But it's, apparently there's
I'd be curious if there's going to be no talking.
Apparently there's a story mode where you're trying to undiscover an evil plot of some form. I don't know.
Well, it's like a post-apocalyptic Japan, from what was explained to me, where you have to avoid the infected creatures and solve puzzles to get from points to other points.
Movies, new releases in places you see movies this week. A Haunting in Venice, the latest Hercule Poirot film. It's an hour 35, hour 40 something. You're in, you're out. We did not get Don will be screening it this week. I'm going to have to wait till it comes out because I've got meetings this week. Also this week, Camp Hideout with Corbin Bleu. After a troubled teen steals an important item from 2 big city goons, he hides in a church summer camp and finds he must protect his newfound friends at all costs when the goons track him down. Christopher Lloyd is in this. That's all I see. Okay. Also this week, Outlaw Johnny Black. Michael Jai White is in.
Yes, it is the one I think it is.
Hell bent on avenging the death of his father, Johnny Black vows to gun down Brett Clayton and becomes a wanted man in the process while posing as a preacher in a small mining town that's been taken over by a notorious land baron.
If you haven't seen the trailer for this,
I am in. Barry Bostwick is in this. Randy Couture is in this. Tommy Davidson, Kim Whitley, Gary Anthony Williams, Tony Baker, Jill Scott. I'm in.
Go watch the trailer for this. Just the trailer alone is amazing.
Also, an animated film called The Inventor, featuring the voices of Stephen Fry, Daisy Ridley, and Marion Cotillard. This is about Leonardo da Vinci. Let's see. Who else? Any other names that I recognize? Not offhand. And let's see. Also this week, My Last Best Friend with Eric Roberts and Carol Alt. New York City, March through April of 2020. It's the beginning of the pandemic. Two men, both named Walter Stoyanov, watch their lives getting turned upside down as one of them falls ill and the other one's being invested by the FBI. Interesting little twist on things. Okay. No, Tina Kraus is a name I recognize, but that's about it. Movies at home this week. Air gets its physical copy release. If you have not seen this, do so. It's a really, really good movie. George and Tammy, the biopic that Michael Shannon did.
Okay.
I've heard very good things about this. I can't remember who the other person was. Jessica Chastain is Tammy Wynette in this.
My brain keeps wanting to say Reese Witherspoon, but that was Walk the Line. But yes, Jessica Chastain.
Yeah, this was on Showtime. Steve Zahn is in this. Walton Goggins is in this. It's one I definitely want to check out, but I don't have Showtime. So, Joyride also available this week for you to check out. Corner Office, which is a film that kind of went. John Hamm is in this. Danny Pudi is in this. Let's see. Christopher Heyerdahl is in this. Looking to see if there's.
It is absolutely insane, but the level of talent is awesome.
As Orson, the authority's newest employee, finds himself trapped in the absurdities of corporate life, his alienation. Oh, Orson is the guy. So as Orson, the authority's newest employee, finds himself trapped in the absurdities of corporate life, his alienation deepens when he discovers a room he's told doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
It's John Hamm with a mustache.
Yeah.
And
real fast, the ear that you I'm trying to remember what it was that came to mind. That was a really good movie with Matt Damon. I really enjoyed that.
I believe we all did. Yeah, it was really good.
And Walkabout gets the Criterion Collection treatment this week. A couple of quick tech corner notes. Charles Martinet, you might not know the name, but you know the voice. He has voiced Mario since Super Mario 64. Has retired from doing the voice of Mario in video games. So,
and he was two different voices within the movie.
So congratulations to him on retirement. And there is a brand new podcast, which may be kind of derailed a little bit, given some headlines this week. It is called Strike Force 5. There are 5 talk show hosts and all the money that's being raised from the podcast are going to the staffs of those shows during the strike. So there is that. Anything else you guys want to talk about before we sign off?
No.
All right. Make sure you visit our website, www.theclubhousepodcast.com. Find out everything you need to know and some stuff you don't. Follow us on your other social medias, Twitter and TikTok are at Clubhouse Show. Everything else is The Clubhouse Podcast, all 3 words in that order, or you will wind up somewhere else. You can follow me on your social medias if you would like. Everything is that Rob Irvin. That is spelled ERVIN.
I'm Vexploit on all social media. If you'd like to help out the show, please go to ProWrestlingTees.com. Search for the Cheap Popcast. A lot of different shirts, a lot of different color options within those shirts. If you happen to be an artist or have suggestions, you can reach out to me at alex@theclubhousepodcast.com.
And that URL gets those awesome shirts that even make me look good. ProWrestlingTees.com/cheap podcast. And at Twitter, I'm at Voodoo. IGBN just like this, but without the 2 U's on the end. And then, if you want this managed to your place, email me, don@clubhousepodcast.com.
We will be out amongst the people next Sunday. Make sure you tune in for our show live from Retro Expo as the crossover event happens between this show and Fanboys 918. You can email me questions, comments, concerns. Tell me to go pound sand. I am Rob at theclubhousepodcast.com. Charlotte Marshall. I probably screwed that on the other show too. Charlotte Marshall's on Pinterest because we are morally obligated to say that. Normally our show is at 7 Eastern or 6 Eastern, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Sunday nights, your one-stop shop for all things sports, entertainment, and pop culture. So until next time, for Alex, for Don, for the Empire, I'm Rob. Clubhouse is closed. Brittany Palmer working the UFC fights last night, doing what she does.